don't take it so seriously. Have some fun, relax. It's all going to work out. Don't stress. I have like barrels of stress that I could have totally avoided had I only known that, oh, this is going to be fine. So that's the thing.
Julien Virgin.
All my kings, queens, princes, and princesses, Miss Pat St. Clair is now officially dropping jewels with Julien Virgin. Miss St. Clair, not how you doing, but how are you living?
Hey, I'm living fabulously. Fabulously. I'm enjoying life, doing what I love, and getting paid. So it's all good.
It's all blessings out here. We are live on location at the National Center for Civil and Human Rights for the Season 4 premiere of Buried Truths, in which you are an editor for. Could you succinctly tell me about what Buried Truth is?
Well, it is the story of a killing of a black man, particularly this edition, of a black man in rural Georgia who was brutalized by police and murdered, and other black people were murdered as well by these same police, and no one ever was, stood accountable for it. No one ever went to jail. There were some sham prosecutions, but no one was ever held accountable for snuffing out this young man's life and the lives of other black people in Dawson, Georgia, in terrible Terrell County in Georgia.
Indeed. We've heard a lot of stories like this before. Just growing up, just history books and even, just people talking. You hear about these stories. How has you and your team done a different job in making sure that this story has been told properly and in a different perspective?
Well, it's the research. If the host of the show, Hank Klibanoff, is an esteemed longtime journalist. Richard Halix, who is the writer, is also a longtime journalist. They both worked at Atlanta Journal-Constitution and many other places. And Hank is also a professor. And so he has all of these legions of students who get down and do the research. They went to Terrell County. They went to Dawson. They found the survivors of these stories, and they found people who could talk about it and authenticate it. We even traveled. I was fortunate enough to travel to Chicago to interview one of the survivors of all of this violence. It was amazing, and I think that's where we're different from others. It's not just writing. We have the actual voices in some cases, and we have the transcripts in others. So it's like you're getting living history every time you listen or download an episode of Buried Truths.
Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, Pat St. Clair joining me live on location here at the National Center for Civil and Human Rights for the Season 4 premiere of Buried Truths. Now, Pat, you're the editor. And a lot of times, people that just hear that word, they don't truly understand what goes into editing a season of a podcast. Could you break down exactly your day-to-day roles and the thumbprint that you truly had on this?
Well, your role as an editor in general is to, in my opinion, tread lightly and make it shine. So what I do, Richard, who is the writer, and Hank, who is also the host and the writer, they write the scripts and then they give them to me. And I just try to help shape them, take out stuff that's not necessary. There's a lot of back and forth. I mean, we'll have one version that I'm working on now is draft 6 of one of the episodes, and sometimes you have to rearrange the information. But the role that I am serving, because I'm a longtime broadcaster, is for the ear, so that Hank is a published writer. He writes books, but I'm an old radio gal, so I know what it should sound like. So that is one of the reasons that I was brought onto the team, so that you're listening to the podcast. What you're hearing is just the glowing, so that you can really capture the meaning of it. And so that's my role as the editor in this particular instance.
Indeed. Now, you just talked about your background in radio, you being the radio gal, and making things interesting and captivating for the audience audibly.
Right.
What are some of the factors that go into this? That like when you sit down and you edit something, what are you looking for? Like, what has your ear been trained with throughout the past your experience?
Well, I'm listening to make it listenable, actually, so that you don't have long, complex sentences. Because, you think about it, when I'm listening as an editor, I listen just like anybody else would listen. Like maybe if I'm exercising, I'm on the treadmill, whatever it is, I intentionally listen that way and read that way, because sometimes it may look good on paper, but when you hear it out loud, it doesn't make sense, or it's hard to follow. And you have to think about the listener doesn't have a script, and they're probably not going to back it up. So the writing has to be crisp and succinct so that you get it the first time. Because if you have to start backing up, then you're going to back up and go someplace else.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pat St. Clair joining me here at the National Center for Civil and Human Rights for the season premiere of Buried Truths, Season 4. Pat, you've been a serious aid to me, and I came out here to see you tonight. I appreciate you just even taking time to find interest in what I'm doing and just answer my calls. You were my age at one time. What would you tell your 28-year-old self in order for her to continue to stay focused to get to where she's standing at right now?
Honestly, don't take it so seriously. Have some fun, relax. It's all going to work out. Don't stress. I have like barrels of stress that I could have totally avoided had I only known that, this is going to be fine. So that's the thing. Don't take it so seriously. And also, think about the long term. Think about longevity when you're choosing projects, even when you're choosing jobs. Think about, is this someplace I want to be for however many years? Does this fit in with my values? All of those things are really important because they shape who you become ultimately.
Now, Pat, before we part ways, I want your final thoughts. What you want to leave me with?
What do I want to leave you with? I want to leave you with just commendations and kudos, because the hustle that you have is so impressive. I'm just looking to see you, like you're already a star. I'm just looking to see when everybody else is so aware of that, and I'll be like, could I get your autograph, please? Remember me? So yeah, I'm just looking for great things and even better things, because you are amazing.
Well, Pat, I appreciate that, and again, the reason I came out here this evening was to tell you that you're amazing, and I appreciate you for taking time to drop some jewels with Julien Virgin.